quite so easy for you in Washington. You're having to cross party lines to make things work. Do you see that as a problem? Questions that you've faced in the last few months.
Somehow or other, the lawyer on the other side is going to have to come to grips with the reality of what she's doing in representing her client and agree to somehow or other dismiss this case.
Yeah.
Get it one way or another.
Okay. See how simple.
Is he ready to go? Yep.
We need to build up the donor base in this region. Over the years, there has been some flow of blood in from the Twin Cities to meet the needs. But we think that the potential is here and that you can meet your needs locally.
I think that acupuncture is becoming more and more recognized by the medical community. It's a very old, ancient art from China, and it's been used successfully for so many things.
Richard Toslin studied the science of acupuncture for 3 years and is licensed by the National Commission for the Certification of Acupuncturists. Most of his clients come to him to relieve neck, shoulder, and back pain, but a growing number are coming to ask for help in things like quitting smoking.
We don't know exactly why acupuncture works or how it works. We do know that acupuncture stimulates the body's natural production of endorphins to help relieve pain.
It was just tightening up where I could hardly turn my head to the left side.
I'm going to start with a couple of points down by your hand. And these points help release the neck and shoulders.
Popularity of acupuncture is growing, but not nearly so quickly as that of massage therapy. At the Crystal Center in Duluth's DeWitt Sites building, this end of the business has skyrocketed.
There are emotions that are stored in the body, and that's the basis of pain.
Some people seek out massage therapists just to feel good, but many others come to relieve pain and stress or avoid it.
I work out on a regular basis, lift weights, and do aerobic exercise. I windsurf, and by keeping my body toned up through massage, it increases my recovery time.
Most of the people who come into the Crystal Center hear about it through word of mouth, though as the conventional medical community learns more about alternative forms of treatment, the center is getting more and more referrals. The study in the New England Journal of Medicine says those who use alternative medicine most are well-educated whites between the ages of 25 and 49. Many of them are not experiencing success with conventional treatments for their problems.
People are not so prone to wanting to take something to just get rid of the symptoms now. They want to understand, how did this get here? How do I prevent this from coming back? It's not, let's just make it disappear and forget about it.
72% of those people never tell their doctors they're dabbling in alternative fields. Despite the skepticism of many, the National Institute of Health has recently provided $2 million to study alternative therapies and is encouraging those in conventional medicine to try to keep an open mind. Most forms of alternative medicine are still a long way from mainstream, but it seems with the growing demand for differing types of treatment, it might not be long till the fringe becomes the future. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
The year was 1982, and Dr. John Najarian brought nationwide attention to the University of Minnesota by spearheading the liver transplant of little Jamie Fisk. Last spring, at a fundraiser in his honor, Najarian was reunited with Jamie, now 10. The famous surgeon said then her case was one of the highlights of his career.
Well, Jamie Fisk, as far as I'm concerned, if you just do one, And we've done many, many children since Jamie, but to do one and have her look like this after 10 years, knowing what she looked like when we transplanted her, is worth everything that I ever studied for or ever did.
But part of the transplant work that made Najarian and the university famous is now part of the controversy. It involves the so-called ALG drug program. Najarian helped develop ALG, a drug that helps prevent patients from rejecting their transplanted organs. It's been used since 1967. The university made millions by legally selling the drug, but ALG has never been approved by the FDA, and it's still considered experimental. Then last August, an internal investigation accused Robert Condi, the ALG director, of pocketing profits from the program. The university fired him, and in December, the FBI launched an investigation into possible criminal fraud within the ALG program. That investigation continues. But now the university says Najarian knew about problems within the program, should have done something about them, but didn't, and as a result, asked Najarian to resign.
There are severe problems. The University of Minnesota, in cooperation with the medical school, has identified those problems and is taking vigorous action to deal with those problems. If you look at it from that perspective, I think this is a positive, deplorable as it is, that these problems did arise.
Najarian couldn't be reached for comment, but in a brief written statement, he said his resignation as head of surgery is effective immediately. He said his record speaks for itself, and he said he'll now devote time to what he enjoys most, teaching, research, and surgery.
This is the prop master. What we're doing here is trying to figure out how many dogs to put out here, which is an exciting thing to do with your day. How many dogs should we put out here for a crane shot? So when you see the Minot Army camp scene in Iron Will, you'll know that these men decided how many dogs would be in the camp. Thank you very much.
It's just another day on the set as director Charles Haid and his team work through the challenges of filmmaking in the Northland.
We're in the home stretch. We're doing a lot of stuff outside. They say we shouldn't be doing it. This is going to be this warm snap you're having. You call it a warm snap. We call it freezing to death. But we're from L.A. When the warm snap is over, we hear that it's going to get cold again. Of course, we've scheduled all this so that we can be outside. That's the toughest part of this, is being outside all day long.
As the crew copes with low temperatures, there are some problems that would be encountered anywhere.
It's very complicated with all the trains and all the dogs. Dogs don't listen to me. I don't understand. The actors listen to me, but the dogs don't listen to me. They have a mind of their own. It's amazing.
But the movie is moving along smoothly. Most days run on or ahead of schedule, and preparations are underway for another huge scene to be shot in 2 harbors. In the meantime, filming will continue in Duluth as the pieces to a complex puzzle come together.
You're talking about a major picture here. If you look at the big movies, they hardly make movies like this anymore. With the number of people, the number of sleds, the number that the train is magnificent. So it's a very large undertaking.
In Duluth, Derek Hines, News 6.
We're told to brace ourselves because those problems did increase in the Dunsmuir area, enough so that it was very noticeable, especially to the Sheriff's Department in Siskiyou County, who told us there was a tremendous increase in domestic violence.
Caledonia is a picturesque little town, a kind of Minnesota Mayberry, where nearly everyone knows everyone else, including Officer Richard Fish.
Well, I think everybody's got him hung from my standpoint, and the guy ain't getting a fair shake.
For the past 2 years, Fish has been a Caledonia police officer. He's now suspended without pay. Before that, he was a dispatcher with the Houston County Sheriff's Department. He even ran for sheriff in the last election, but lost. The most recent charges against him are for allegedly offering to pay for sex with 2 teenage girls, one 16-year-old and another who's 14. Those allegations follow other charges of raping his female partner in an undercover drug operation, raping another Caledonia woman while he was on duty, and threatening to kill 2 sheriff's deputies who Fish felt were siding with his wife in divorce proceedings against him. Even longtime friends of Fish say they're troubled by all the accusations.
If he's proven guilty of monkeying around with doing that with teenage girls, then he's guilty, yes, and I want to see him prosecuted then. And until then, I don't know.
I couldn't get Fish to answer his door today, much less any questions. And it was equally difficult to get interviews from law enforcement officials or most townspeople. He may be this town's favorite topic of discussion, but not with a reporter.
One of the strongest sentiments here in Caledonia seems to be fear. People just don't want to talk about this case. Even folks who've never had any trouble with Richard Fish say they're reluctant to risk offending someone who's accused of attacking people and making death threats.
Adding to their fears is the fact that Fish is free on bond, despite all the felony charges against him.
I just want my health back. Just give me my health back, that's all. That's all I ask.
Borne by the taconite industry. But the thing that people need to understand is that they have other energy costs. They are large consumers of natural gas. Natural gas also is going to have a BTU tax, so the taconite companies and paper companies will get hit that way. There's also an oil tax that's being proposed. They use a lot of diesel fuel in their trucks and in their plants. That also, that tax will also hit the taconite and the paper industries.
The right of assignment, I'll use Mintech as an example. It's available to significant effort in changing our organizational culture. In short, we want to work SISP or Otter Tail or anybody else will buy them, and we'll just flow through the benefits, whatever we get for revenues, give right to the customers, release them kilowatts.
What a person should realize is that the work starts once the idea develops.
Mike Subzak, a Cloquet firefighter, invented the Fireflight, an aluminum fire escape system that is mounted below an upstairs window.
Okay, with the Fireflight, all you have to do is go to the window, open up the window, operate this latch, and you got a way out.
Mike's invention has won him national recognition, including the Inventor of the Year award from the Inventors Club of America. When it came time to start a business to build and market his invention, he turned to the Small Business Center at UMD. There, a counselor like Catherine Forsland showed Mike how to develop a business plan.
Well, a business plan is basically a document that includes information on the product or service, information on the competition and the environment, the competitive environment. It includes a marketing plan on how to bring the product or service to market, how to sell it. It includes a management plan, organizational chart, who's going to run the business, who's going to do what.
But another real important part of the business plan is that anyone that's going to put up any financing is going to want to make sure that you know what direction you're going to go in.
The UMD Small Business Center offered Mike valuable advice on what goes into creating a business. It also guided him to other resources in the Northland involving financing, marketing, and manufacturing. His Fireflight is now being made by Hibbing Fabricators.
What most people don't realize is that there's lots of manufacturers right up here in northern Minnesota that have just as sophisticated equipment and workers that are probably of superior qualities than they can find down in Minneapolis.
Mike hopes to manufacture and sell 2,000 Fireflight fire escapes the first year in business. Today, he quickly recommends organizations like the Small Business Development Center in Duluth and the Minnesota Technology Regional Office in Virginia to others interested in starting their own business.
You get some excellent advice for free. That's their function. That's what they're there for. They're there to help people develop businesses and promote economic development and growth in northeastern Minnesota.
Uju, Niji, Nimai, Giwin. Welcome, friends, to our dance.
The children came to the auditorium class by class to watch the powwow. Several traditional dances were performed by the dancers dressed in colorful Indian costumes. But it wasn't enough to just watch. Soon almost all the children were up imitating the steps and participating in the dances. That was the whole idea, to share the culture and through that sharing, teach the children the respectful, proud Ojibwe heritage.
I feel that through a demonstration of like what we're doing today is going to help alleviate some of the stereotypes perpetuated throughout history.
The Ojibwe people at today's powwow feel educating the children is the answer to changing the prevailing prejudices towards Indians in the Northland.
If you were to look at the dancers, they're all carrying themselves very proud, and there's an identity there that makes them feel good for who they are. And I think everybody needs to see that.
Grant Elementary School has about 300 students, and each of them gets instruction in Ojibwe language and culture.
Nearly 2 weeks after he told police he found her body, 41-year-old Michael Mattson found himself in Douglas County District Court charged with his girlfriend's murder. Some question why the police investigation took so long.
Mattson was a suspect from the beginning. Part of an investigation just takes time interviewing. Those interviews had reached a point, and the information we received indicated that we believe we had probable cause to charge him with this crime.
One of the key interviews was provided by the suspect's brother, John Mattson. The two men were the ones who found the body of 50-year-old Myrna Clemens in her Superior home the day of the murder. According to court records, John Mattson says when he left the home that morning, the victim was alive. He then said he saw the suspect come out of the house a short time later, wiping his hands on something. And later in the day, the suspect told him, "I'm going to be charged with murder." Michael Mattson was serving a sentence at the time of the incident for previously assaulting Myrna Clemens. But through the Huber work release program, he was allowed to go to work every day, right next door to the victim's home.
It really does show that the system has failed.
Domestic abuse advocates say it's outrageous that Mattson, a known batterer, was allowed such easy access to Clemens. They say the judicial system fell short in protecting her, but according to police, Clemens may have had a hand in deciding her fate.
The information we have is that she might have requested that he be allowed the work release program to assist her in the business.
Domestic abuse advocates say they applaud the system for listening to the victim's request, but question whether authorities should have taken it at face value. In Superior, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Students and teachers at Bryant Elementary take each day as it comes. Crowded classrooms, poor ventilation, and leaky ceilings are just a few problems they face daily. That's why they're campaigning hard for the school referendum.
Very important to me because I work with a wonderful group of children in a very poor situation. And our current trends in education have been hands-on activities. Children learn from doing. We just don't have the facilities to implement those activities.
Principal Andrea Hammond says while the building is safe, she's still concerned about potential hazards.
I don't think a whole ceiling will fall, but we do have tiles that fall. I can take you around, show you holes in the ceiling, but I don't think a whole ceiling would fall.
Teachers have even taken out ads in the local newspaper asking voters to come and see the problems firsthand at next week's school board meeting. The staff here at Bryant Elementary say they will continue to urge the public to vote yes on the upcoming referendum until Election Day. At Bryant Elementary, Janine Johnson, News 6.